63 days without a Biden press conference. The big day is Thursday. But we begin with this horrible story out of Colorado. 10 dead at a Boulder grocery store. The suspected killer identified as 21-year-old Ahmad al-Aliwi Alissa. He was born in Syria and welcomed to the United States as a refugee when he was 3 years old. No official motive tonight, though we have lots of clues we're going to get to here in just a bit. Alissa has been charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. One of the victims, a Boulder cop and father of 7, rushed into the gunfire and lost his life. 51-year-old Eric Talley, braver than most anyone you know, ran right into gunfire. This story, as you might expect, is loaded with malpractice by the left. Last night, they got a glimpse of a shirtless man with a beard walking out of that grocery store. They were so hoping it would be a white man, maybe even a Trump supporter. Wouldn't that be great? Author and frequent MSNBC guest Amy Siskin tweeted this out. The shooter was taken into custody. In other words, it was almost certainly a white man. If he were black or brown, he'd be dead. She followed up with this after his name was released. Let's mourn the victims, but not glorify the killer with the attention of having his name widely known. Yeah, let's not pay attention to the name now, Amy. After all, it's not John Smith. Kamala Harris's niece tweeted this. The Atlanta shooting was not even a week ago. Violent white men are the greatest terrorist threat to this country. She too had to take this back, walk it back. I deleted a previous tweet about the suspect in the Boulder shooting. I made an assumption based on his being taken into custody alive and the fact that the majority of mass shootings in the U.S. are carried out by white men. She is almost as insufferable as her aunt. Last night, before all the facts were out, MSNBC and CNN were just itching to run with the lone white male shooter narrative.
You may have seen the aerial pictures of this one suspect being led away by 2 members of law enforcement. He is a white male.
We did see footage of an individual who was clearly wounded. He was barely wearing any clothes. He was a white male.
Contrast that with how we covered the story last night. This all happening just before 3 o'clock this afternoon, local time there in Boulder. Still no word on the suspect's identity, but he is in police custody, we're told. Some of us are actually aware that light-skinned people come from all over the world. There are white-looking people in Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Afghanistan, the Balkans. Maybe some of these fools should go travel the world sometime, learn a thing or two. Their embarrassment came quickly as the suspected killer's name was released today. Some of Alissa's social media posts have surfaced, even though the account has been shut down by Facebook. Apparently, he was very angry about Islamophobia. He posted this after that deadly mosque shooting in New Zealand back in 2019. The Muslims at the Christchurch Mosque were not the victims of a single shooter. They were victims of the entire Islamophobia industry that vilified them. It seems the shooter was also not a big fan of President Trump, to the disappointment of the media. He retweeted this article from the Washington Post about the border and asylum laws with the caption, "Trump is such a blank." Alissa's actions yesterday actually proved, in a lot of ways, that some of the assumptions he was so angry about had some steam to them, that there are reasons why we watch who comes into this country. It also seems he had problems finding love, posting this on Facebook in 2019, "I need a girlfriend." Since CNN can't admit that this young man likely hated white people and Americans, it's sticking with other clearly visible facts about this killer, that he was very sick. Alissa, whose family emigrated from Syria, may have been suffering from mental illness, according to his 34-year-old brother. The brother told CNN Tuesday that in high school, bullies made fun of Alissa's name and for being Muslim, and that may have contributed to him becoming antisocial. In the Denver Post, classmates say that Alissa had a hair-triggered temper, was very scary, and said if anyone ever told on him for any of the things he did, he would claim they were racist and fabricating the story. Sounds like a wonderful member of society to me. We also learned that his family, who was well aware that this young man was not well at all, saw him playing with his new assault rifle days ago and did nothing about it. A young man that they say was depressed, that had anxiety issues, that was angry, that had a temper, got a new weapon, and nobody cared. We'll see if any charges are filed against anyone in the family. We don't know yet. In the meantime, President Biden and Democrats have jumped to their default response after a shooting, that being gun control.
Less than a week after the horrific murders of 8 people and the assault on the AAPI community in Georgia, While the flag was still flying half-staff for the tragedy, another American city has been scarred by gun violence and the resulting trauma. I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future and to urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again.
And then they'll just magically disappear into thin air. You'll never see one again. And it appears the Biden team might not wait for any action from Congress. Jen Psaki saying today they're considering using their old friend, a good friend, the executive order. The Senate Judiciary Committee actually had a previously scheduled hearing on gun violence this afternoon. How convenient for them. Here is Senator Dick Blumenthal.
America awoke today to another nightmare, stunning, shocking, savage, but unsurprising. Inaction has made this horror completely predictable. Inaction by this Congress makes us complicit.
And we do this every time. The actions they're going to take won't do much. And Ted Cruz fired back with some actual wisdom behind his quote, the knowledge that, in fact, the state of Colorado already has many of the regulations that Democrats are fighting to implement nationwide in the wake of this tragedy.
And every time there's a shooting, we play this ridiculous theater where this committee gets together and proposes a bunch of laws that would do nothing to stop these murders.
He's got a point. Nobody likes to see this, but believe it or not, Colorado is one of a few U.S. states with universal background check gun controls. Another Democrat virtue signal and really just a grab at the guns.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.